callers, developers, welcome back to AHG. So, as you guys can see right here, I kind of got you. We're going to get the spreading done on this thing. Well, spreading down by putting the frets in. I have a lot more work to do. So, this is the new build. Um, and I wanted to talk about Outlaw. I finished Outlaw, and I realized I didn't do videos with you guys, and I'm so sorry about that. Um, I was getting in a lot of things and working on a lot of things. And then I had my Zeppelin playlist going. And, I was just rocking out and I grabbed, I'll show you Outlaw here in a minute done. You can barely see it right there. And we'll get to Old Geezy over here in a little bit. But I figured I'd do some fretting again. So this is the new build. This is called Gearhead. And I'll show you guys exactly why it's called Gearhead in a bit. I didn't discuss this build with you guys, and I'm sorry. I didn't do a video because I had some upper respiratory battling bronchitis BS, and I just went ahead and, dug through and finished this one, and then I've got this one right here. This is that gorgeous curly maple. I'll have to show you this thing in the sunlight itself, but this is just gorgeous, gorgeous wood. And as you can see here, I put Gearhead in the back because this isn't going in. And of course, the railroad. I'm a maker's mark, and then I put AHG back here. It's really hard to see. I put it in the heel. It says AHG right here. But this is gorgeous curly maple. The reason why this isn't stained, I cleared it just to protect it, but you're not going to see this part. It's going to be covered up. But this curly maple, guys, I've got one more I can make into a neck, and that's it. But this curly maple, it doesn't do it justice inside. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. Go check out Instagram. Like I said, I figured I'd get this thing fretted with you guys, and then we'll talk more about this guy right here. If you guys remember, I said I was working on this guy right here. This one's Outlaw, or Soft. So I went ahead and sprayed that P90 red. That's the last of my paint I had. So, and then, of course, I distressed it by roughing it up a bit, just to make it look old. We got the nice F-hole here. Like I said, the actual 1800s door handle, this is where the knob went in. That is actually where the jack hooks up. You can see right there. And then I left a little locking mechanism on it, just cause. And then the smoked 1950s replica of what you would find on an old Les Paul Jr. So this thing is awesome. This hardtail is awesome. This actual hardtail I used for this thing, this was actually made by my buddy Donnie in New York. He has whiskey barrels, and he has the straps, and he's been making these hardtails. So that's a whiskey barrel strap. But this turned out absolutely incredible. The nice warm gloss. This is the curly maple. You can see it right there. I'd have to take you guys outside because it doesn't do it justice. So this thing's absolutely awesome. It sounds incredible. I'm going to do a sound sample of this one when I get this one complete here. And there's a reason for that. In 2 weeks and 4 days, we're going to go back out west to go see our family. I haven't seen all of our children together in 7 years. So we're going to go visit our kids in Utah. We haven't been back there in that long. So, and we lived here back in Illinois for 8 years. Or 9 years this year. Going on 9 years this year, sorry. And check this out. Check what Mountain Dew did for the 250th anniversary of America. That is badass, American Dew. I saved one of these just because it's going to probably be a collector's item, so I'll never do it again. Anyways, let's get this fretwork done, and then we'll talk about other things I've got over here with you guys. So it's going to take a little bit. We'll get this done. We'll talk more about Outlaw. And I want to talk about this guy here. You're asking yourself, you're like, wait a minute, that's a jazz bass body? You're correct. But then you're like, wait a minute, if I look at the headstock, that's a P bass. You would also be right. And here's a reason for it. This is going to come with the Fender BS here after a while. So, how are you? So, if you guys remember Geezy Butler, depending on your age bracket, Geezy is an awesome bass player. Absolutely incredible bass player. Black Sabbath, if you didn't know that. So there's a story that floated around about Geezy is he broke the headstock and it couldn't be replaced. So a buddy of his grabbed a P bass and took the P bass. This is actually at 12 degrees. It has a back angle. Fenders don't have back angles. But this was just an experimental thing. So I wanted to build a Geezy inspired bass. Of course, we don't have the red pearloid on here, or you could use the white, but the red pearloid you always see it on these tobacco bursts. And I built this thing. We'll get that whole Fender BS after a while and give my own 2 cents on it. And get you guys more, please do not fall there, bass. Get you guys more in depth about Outlaw, because this thing sounds incredible. I picked it up every day and played this thing. That hickory, not hickory, I've got hickory though. This curly maple is absolutely incredible. It actually looks like on this side here, it actually looks like a tiger stripe. I'll have to take you guys outside. But anyways, this new build, old Ford hubcap, old Ford. This is the sound hole. I gotta finish cutting that out. And then, of course, your jack is right here. Your volume knob is right here. This is the knob for it. Of course, you know, using another Les Paul inspired knob. This one's the nice, man, I can't remember what they call it, but it's nice. So that's the knob that goes on right there. But I gotta finish the sound hole. This thing's getting my last P90 in stock. So it is going to be the cream colored P90. I ran out of paint, so we're just going to have the cream colored P90 on this thing. But I'm going to get the frets done with you guys. And then I'll get you guys up to speed on something. I'm going to get off of here, crank my music, because I got to have my Led Zeppelin, man. So I got to have this. I got to have my Led Zeppelin blaring. So I just want to do the fretwork with you guys, get you caught up on this stuff here. And I'm going to do a sound sample of this thing when it's done. And this thing. So I'm trying to get this done here in 2 weeks and 4 days. And then I also have to get this guy done. This guy's awesome. It actually has a psycho knob installed in here, which means the knob back here, you could turn it with a screwdriver, and you can make it dirty or as clean as you want. Of course, I got to make it dirty, especially when I put the old TS-808 on there. But let's get the fretwork done. And like I said, when you come to fret, if you're doing it by hand, if you have one of them plectrum machines, that's how most everybody does it. Hold on a minute. Hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by. We're getting ready to do frets. So that's my jumbo fret for my nut. I don't use nuts. I use I use jumbo frets. Sorry. It's the whole "that's what she said" kind of kicked in my brain there for a second. No matter what age you are, it still gets funny sometimes. But what you want to do is you want to set these nice and flat, and then give these things a nice push. That's what I'm doing. Giving it a push. And then let me get this one in here. I gotta get 2 going. And then you just go like that. Now I don't have the actual 4 frets. You got one that looks like a claw like this. It makes it flush up against there. I don't have that. So I just grind my edges down Ugh. Ah, darn it. These get it close. I'll have to use these to get it clear away, but... And watch out, these things will launch out at you. But yeah, I'll get the frets done with you guys. By done, I just mean on here. I got a lot of filing to do, and I want to show you guys another trip. Words apart, another tip if you're gonna do your own fret work. Like, it doesn't matter about like these that I build, or one of these big giant honking guys, or a regular guitar. Your frets is the most vital thing. The biggest vital thing you're gonna do to your guitar or to your bass, besides wiring. And of course, wiring is a giant pain in the ass, but that's another segment for another time. So once I get the first three in here, something I want you guys to do, if you're going to feel comfortable enough to start fretting, first of all, you got to take your time. Don't rush frets at all. Do not rush this. And then you just hold it with your finger after you press it in. Get your fret hammer, whatever your choice of fret hammer will be. I like this little guy here. I explained to people in that last video I did, actually fretting this guy. That this actual little dude here, GMC back in the day, when you worked at their plants, well, not plants, but when you worked at their your automotive stores as an automotive mechanic, what they did was, I'll have to show you guys when I'll have to dig it out sometime. But it's a little toolbox. It's just a little. It's got a ratchet in there. It's got pliers in there that don't work, and of course, this little guy. And I added some weight to it. I just threw some duct tape around it, and it works great. Instead of buying, spending $30, $40 and buying a fret hammer that I don't need, I just use this guy. It's heavy enough. It doesn't damage the frets. It works, and it's not ginormous. I can just put it off to the side. So it just works. Okay. Alright, let me get one more fret in here, and this is another crucial thing about fretting. So get your tang in. I don't have my arm brace on, so I should probably put it on, but but another thing, if you're stain, like if you cut your fret lines, I did clean them out last night, way late last night, so my wife was trying to sleep, so I wasn't trying to dig too hard, and I didn't get a few of them. So take your fretting saw, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. So this is the exact fretting saw. This saw is the same thickness as the tang, and when I did fret work with you guys, I showed you guys my little where I hold my fretboards in it, and it cuts to the exact depth. But after staining and getting a poly on here, you always want to clean these so your frets sit perfectly level. Because I thought I got them all, but it happens. Alright. So get your tang in, and you're just going to push with your fingers. You're just going to push it down, hold it with your finger, and just a second here, once I get this cut off here. Okay, another thing you guys want to get, fret rocker. Always get your fret rocker. Yeah, so you always want to get one of these guys. So I do every time I get a few in here. And you hold these at an angle. I don't know how well you can tell. But you don't hold them perfectly. You don't hold them perfectly straight. So you're seeing, say this is your fret. You're going to just barely at an angle. You're going to rock it back and forth. So I always check that, because then I'll stop if I need to stop, quickly pull it out, get my fret saw, make sure that everything's nice and out of here. When I put that clear on, when I put my warm gloss poly on yesterday, I forgot to wipe it down when I was doing it, and it dried, so I had a lot inside. And I use Medium by Jeskar. Jeskar is one of the greatest companies out there who make frets, in my opinion. There's probably others, but I've always used Jeskar. The biggest names in the industry, Fender, Gibson, everybody, they use Jeskar frets too. So these are medium. But I don't put all my frets in and just leave it alone. I always check it with a fret leveler. Always have to check it. How are you? Yeah, always check your frets. If you're going to do frets yourself, that is the biggest thing you need to check. Is my advice would be not laying all your frets in. You get your first 3 in, then take your fret leveler, like I said. So the frets, right? You don't hold it straight. You hold it at an angle. Okay? So, like I said, I don't know how well you can tell when I've got you there angled. But you can see here. And then all you do is you go over your frets. And then that'll also help you determine if you just need to quickly do a light sand after that. Because these are perfectly down. And I've had these. What are you doing, honey? What you doing? Millie's over here, guys. Maybe she might come say hi to y'all. But always do that. So basically, set them in there. Give them a good push. Take your hammer. And you just repeat the process. So you're gonna have a little hungover. See that right there? You're just have to. If you gotta, I don't have one here at home because I'm in an apartment. But my old shop, my grinder's still up there, and that's exactly what I go back and use carefully. And I go like this back and forth on my grinder to make sure you get that nice teardrop shape. So that's your biggest thing is always going to be your frets. So, and the other thing that'd probably make your life easier if you're building like a Fender or a Gibson, PRS. If you're building any regular guitar and you get your frets by Jeskar, they're not going to come like this. I'll show you one so I don't dump it out. This is 6 foot itself, just cut into sections. Jeskar medium. what you'll get from them is you'll get the same width of your fretboard. All you gotta do is, beat them in. And the other thing that's controversial um, is some people glue their frets. So some people put glue in the slots and then do it, or they'll put glue on the tang and then carefully put it in. Um, I'm not against that because there have been a few times where um, I had an old, and my old saw I used was a little too wide for the tang, so I had to glue some of my frets in while this was back ordered. So I had to do that quite a few times with um, my bigger old saw, hand saw. So pretty much it's take your time, be patient. Always double check or triple check your work. I know it's boring. um, like I said, I know it's boring. Make sure I don't miss any of y'all's comments here. Like I said, this is not to me, but since I'm doing it with you guys online, it's boring because we're doing the same thing over and over. It's nothing cool. You know what I mean? So, but it's a big step in your guitar building in the right direction. When I get close to if I remember without getting into my other groove, um, uh, we'll talk about intonation because your guitar needs to sound good. It also needs to be intonated. The other thing about normal guitars is not this one, but the one I built, the other one I built, the first one I built this year. Um, I put a hardtail on it, and hardtails are the worst things to try to get intonated. Like I said, yep, get away from you. They are the worst things to get uh, intonated. Absolutely the. Like I said, I always double check, triple check my work. I can hear SRV going in the background. I turned my music down so I wouldn't get in trouble by YouTube and get a spanking. I got SRV, and Zeppelin going today. Like I said, I just wanted to do this with you guys, get you caught up on some other stuff, and then I'll get back at doing this here, and we'll reconvene at another time here and have some fun. Another thing I wanted to update you guys on too. Another thing I wanted to update you guys on is I'm still waiting to hear back from companies so I can start that new series called Coffee and a Talk with AHG. Coffee and a Talk. Coffee Talk. Now, if you know where that comes from, it's old SNL days, early 90s. We can be friends. Like I said, double check, triple check, quadruple check your work. So, and never rush it. Never, never rush this step. Between this step and doing your soldering, that takes massive, massive, massive concentration. Boring. But if you're going to get into, you know, whether it's, you know, fixing other people's guitars or building your own guitars, like I said, most big companies, they use those plec machines, which means they put the guitar in like this, and then the frets are preloaded, so the frets are sitting on a machine and it presses the frets in. But this is the good old-fashioned way of doing frets. It takes forever. Like I said, every time you're doing this, careful. These things will, if you get it right, I don't think I've been doing it too long. Let me see if I can't get it to. I got it to fly a little bit. I've been doing it too long. But I used to sit here and cut these guys. Like I said, there's 6-foot sections. These come in sections like this. Hold on. But it's 6-foot sections. Cut down. Like I said, same frets that are used by all the big name guitar companies out there. Jescar, I think that's how you pronounce it. Jescar, whatever. Escargot. I'll make sure I'm not missing nobody's comments here. Like I said, always double check, triple check your work. And if I had the pliers that are used on these, it looks like a big old jaw that goes like this. They get it flush, so you're not gonna have a little bit over like this to work with. It just makes your life easier. Hi, Millie. You gonna say hi to everybody? You gonna say hi? Alright, say hi, Mill. Say hi, Millie. We're live. We're live on television. You gonna say hi to everybody? You're kind of in my way here. Are you gonna get in the sink? Are you gonna try to get the meat thawing out? Alright. You can sit there. Sorry guys, that's good old Mill Moo. She is our wonderful 1-year-old full-blooded Maine Coon, aka a giant Clydesdale. Oh. Ah. Oh shit. Well. Well, that Mountain Dew ain't good no more. Alright. Millie, hey. Mill. You little shit. You're not gonna eat the meat. Come on, get out of here. Okay. So when you're done with this whole process, and you get from the bottom half to the top half of your fretboard, you see that I keep going back, but I'll even go back after I'm done. That's another thing you want to do for yourself. Always, always, always check your work. Besides intonation, this is the most crucial stage of any guitar build. Besides your wiring, which is a giant pain in the ass. but your frets are everything. So you start getting your guitar intonated, and if you don't check your frets that they're level, and the moment you go play on a fret, you're going to hear a buzz. Because either A, that fret's too high, or on one side or the other side. That's why I have a template of when I cut my fret slots, that it's to the exact depth of the tank. I might invest in one of them fret hammers one day. I mean, not fret hammers. I like this little dude. Um, the one that you cut your frets with that goes right up to the edge, so you don't have. So when you do your frets, you don't have enough hanging over. It does it perfectly. Um, I might get one of those just to make my life a little bit easier instead of doing so much grinding. But yeah, just take your time. Like that. See, they can sling out at you. Alright, we're almost done, and then we'll get to the other fun section of this video that I was talking about. Well, sort of fun, sort of not, but because, you know, I'm not, sorry, I keep trying to watch for all your comments. You know, I'm not, man, how can I put this? I'm horrible with words. I'm not, I don't think of myself as a, well, I'm not a famous YouTuber or none of that crap. I really don't care about that. I'm not even a, influencer. I don't care about that either. So I feel like I can say whatever I want because this is my own. This is my own YouTube channel. This is my own show. I can do whatever I want, say whatever I want, and I really don't care. Oh. So the next part of this video isn't going to be fun for most other folks. So we're halfway there. Almost done. And then another thing that I do, is I'd be very careful I don't cut my fingers, is you see me going back to my frets, you see me rocking them, I'm putting all my weight on them, and seeing if I can't pull them out. And sometimes it just happens where you're cut, it's not as tight, so sometimes you do have to add a little bit of glue. But it's not the end of the world. Glue has no, as long as you don't spill it all over your fretboard, or if you do use glue in the moment that you pound these down and a little bit starts to spill over, clean it. And you might want to put your frets in first before you actually stain, if you have to do that. Because you can really, if you use the right kind of glue, like the kind of glue I use, once you glue something in, it's in. It ain't ever coming off. And that's how I glued this on here. You guys can't see it because of the stain. But I put a cog on there just to symbolize automotive, since this is an automotive inspired piece. And my nickname is uh, my nickname was two things back in the day. Uh, my nickname was Gears, or everybody, because if you're really working, you're a gearhead, and that's what I got burned on the back of here. I would burn it on the back. So I was called. The reason I used to be called Gears is I had nice long flowing hair back in the day before you go bald. You're thinning, and I had stare words. I had hair just like I don't know how many of you guys know, but Stacey David, he had his show called Gears. Started in about 1998, and I think it ran until the mid or late 2000s, something like that. I think. I don't remember exactly, but so everybody always said that I should have done a show, but YouTube wasn't around back when this was all being talked about, that I should do my own show for automotive, and that's when I used um, I had my automotive channel, but this accident and everything, I don't wrench on cars anymore, so I changed my automotive channel from 66 Salvage Restoration Speed Shop to American Heritage and History. Going around talking about history and railroad and all that kind of fun stuff. But I did leave a few automotive inspired things on there for folks. I built this race car with an awesome kid named Tucker, and his dad, and Tucker has autism, and those videos are still up there. American Heritage and History. That's what my automotive shop used to be called, was 66 Salvage Restoration Speed Shop. So go check it out. I got those on there, and I was able to do one video before my accident. That was, and I haven't done any more since then. Some days are better than others. Some days I can walk fine, other days I can't. Some days my body just wants to be an asshole and not work at all, so um, so like I said, this isn't the funnest thing in the world to do, but it's a must-do if you're going to play an actual guitar that's got frets on it, not a slide guitar. Slide guitars in the CBG world, or guitars, they don't have frets. You just build the bass up really, really high where it's a slide. You just come with your fret. I don't know how well you guys can see. I might have to push this back up again. I'm right here. Hopefully you guys can see it. I got comments down there, so I can't see. If you guys can see, hopefully you can. But as some of you guys have been tuning in since we started this whole venture together, but anyways, we're almost done. We'll get to the other part of this segment here in just a little bit, guys. So I appreciate most of you guys popping in and out of here. I understand that it's Friday already, But I understand some of you people, depending on what time it is. What the sink? But yeah, like I said, I appreciate most of you guys popping in and out. Make sure I'm not missing nobody's comments here. Alright, back to it. We're almost done. Well, getting him in anyways. I got a lot of filing to do, but such is life. We Anywho, we're almost done, guys. Two more to go after this one. Okay. Oh. And my cat stepping on that. Alright. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, where'd it go? Oh, shit. Where'd it go? Ooh. Like I said, if you're not careful, it'll fly back out at you. Go clear across the room. Damn, I'm gonna have to. Yeah. That was loose. Like I said, sometimes what you have to do is. It's controversial. It really is. It's controversial. Some people say don't, some people say do. But if it's your own and not somebody else and somebody else don't care, do it, man. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. A little bit of a tickle. And then you line it up. Push it back down. Okay, so I got one more here, and then we'll go off to the other part of this before I just get off and want to jam out, crank up my music loud again. Just gotta double check my work, and then we'll get to getting with what else we're gonna do here with you guys. Okay. All right. All right. Now we're looking like a guitar neck. Now comes the hard part of a lot of filing. So you don't cut your fingers and you don't cut your palms. I'm gonna get my tuners on here in a little bit, so. Alright. That's all the fun there is, kids. So I'll wrap up that job. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about, which probably, I don't know, I don't pay attention to other people on YouTube that much. So there's probably been dozens of people who've talked about it. I seen Guitar Player Magazine put something up. Like I said, just gotta do some filing. They was doing the fret job. I appreciate you hanging out for that. I'm ready to get back to my Led Zeppelin playlist here in a minute. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? So most of you guys who love guitars have probably heard by now that Fender is trying to play a bunch of Billy the Badass basses, like they're the bullies on the playground, telling other people that they can't build, the S-style body. And I wouldn't be surprised if basses are next. So that's why I wanted to talk about this monstrosity. This is my Geezy bass from Geezy Butler. I wanted to build something that was a replica of, one of the greatest bass players of all time, besides Les Claypool in my mind. And we can even go as far as saying, darn it. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I built this bass. And I used this is a Fender body. This is from Fender. This body is a Fender body. An actual Fender body from Fender. So this is the jazz body with the P bass neck. Because I told you the story about how Geezy Butler broke his bass and needed it fixed. And so he used a P bass. Neck and the jazz body. And these are very old Duncans. These are Duncan designed. That's what it says right there, Duncan designed. I love this bass. It is a heavy ass bass, man. I think this weighs 8.5 pounds. I'd have to reweigh it, but 8.5 pounds, I do believe. But it was an awesome bass to build. Using a P bass neck and a actual Fender jazz body. So Fender, this came from you guys. Long time ago, when you guys sold bodies, this came from you. So here's my whole stick on the whole Fender thing. I think they're pathetic. Um, I think they're childish. I think they're weak. And you can't call yourself a man if you're wanting to try to be like, oh, you other builders, you can't build our shit. Like hell. So, in the words of Rage Against the Machine, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Good song. It's a good part in the song. Yeah. If you know Rage Against the Machine, it's a good song. I think it's childish. I think it's petty. They're just pissed off that other people can do a better job at building a strat using the body. You know, nobody's trying to. A lot of people aren't trying to copy their headstocks. I think it's pathetic. This wannabe so-called man, I'll just call you a boy. I know you're a grown man who likes to wear khakis and a man bun, but you're childish. You're pathetic. Fender, you bit yourself in the ass on this one, and it is hard to look at this guitar that I once built. My bass, well, not guitar, but bass, using their professional body. It is stamped underneath here on the plate. It says Fender. Using this thing, building this bass, and it's even hard to look at my telly right now without feeling an absolute disgust. I think it's childish, and they're not even, right now, it's not even American channels they're going through. It's the freaking place in Germany. Which I love Germany, don't get me wrong. Beautiful, beautiful country. Gorgeous. Gorgeous country. That's pretty much, that's, all I gotta say about that. Germany is gorgeous. But this whole thing is stupid about attacking PRS, attacking, boutique builders like myself. We're all just trying to make a living and do what we love, and that's music, and trying to get guitars and basses out to people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like I said, I think Fender is pathetic. I think they're childish. Those are my 2 cents. They're like the bully on the playground where that bully eventually gets his ass beat and learns a lesson. Karma's gonna bite him in the ass, and they'll learn the lesson. Maybe not, but I'm disgusted. I'm appalled. A man and his integrity is everything. They don't have that anymore with the new guy they put in place. Take your penny loafers, take your khakis, get your ass on down the road with your man bun, and get out of here with your midlife crisis that you're going through. You know what I mean? So, the Fender thing is just absolutely bonkers. And that's why I pulled this thing out. Because this thing all the pieces came from Fender. Every single piece on that jazz bass with my P bass neck, jazz bass body. This is an official licensed Fender. So obviously, Fender, you're not gonna sell your bodies anymore. You're not gonna. Yeah. That's just my 2 cents. I really don't really give a shit. Because I'm not famous. I'm not popular. I don't have to watch my mouth. Nor would I ever, because I have a mouth on me, and I don't have a filter anymore. I just let it fly. All you get, you're like, skirt, man. So that's how I feel. Anyways, everybody's different, but I feel that they deserve a firm ass kicking, a royal ass kicking. And I think people should stand up and just do it anyways. Because how many people have over $250,000 or however much Fender's asking people to pay them for shit? You were once beloved. Now I just want to take my 2 Fenders and throw them in a wood chipper. Because I'm disgusted and appalled that is what we came to. Okay, anyways, let's move on to better and brighter pastures. Okay, don't fall, please. You're heavy. Let's talk about old Outlaw Soft here. Let's talk about this guy for a minute. One more time. Spirit of 57. I put that on the neck because if you're not a motive guy, you understand what 1957 had to offer for muscle cars. Well, today's standards of what we call a muscle car And then I just decided to cut this rough F-hole. It's the same design that we're doing on that over there. Like I said, the old antique 1800s doorknob. I actually have the doorknob that goes in here. But that's where the jack goes. That smoked original 50s. Came off a Gibson Jr. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big Gibson guy because of my old tattoo. I don't have these two anymore, and I wish I did because they're expensive now. But I hope I can own a Gibson one day again. But this thing is absolutely incredible, guys. Well, it needs to be tuned, but I love this thing. This thing's pretty good acoustic wise. But anyways, we'll do a sound sample with this one plugged in, and the new one that we're working on here. I just got to get this mini guy going because we're gonna be on the road here, and this thing's awesome. It's a 9-volt battery. I just got to finish wiring everything up, but it's a nice little badass little amp. So, it's easily carryable. This thing's 2.5 pounds. It's pretty decent little feller. Finish wiring up the guts on that, and then I'll do Outlaw for you guys. This thing is absolutely incredible. These P90s that I'm using, the cream ones, they are all built to 1950 specifications of Gibson. And let me tell you, they do sound like it. They just, it's a whole other animal, and I can't wait to get this one done with you guys. I don't know how well you guys can see I put gear and then head right here. Alright, there we go. This is lovely curly maple. This thing looks incredible in person. It's so hard to get it to you guys on camera, but this thing is awesome. So we'll do more on this one. And then this new one, I gotta get done here before we leave on the road. So I gotta finish cutting out the F-hole. You can see it there. I gotta finish cutting that out. And then what I'm doing too is I'm also using I've had this forever, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford another 335 in my lifetime. So I've had this guy forever, and these were also used on the gold tops. This is a Gibson. So this thing's going to go, once I'm down here, let me fold this thing down. It'd be better once it's bolted down when I'm trying to hold it. Okay, let me get this lined up again. So there's the P90. Whoops. So I'm using this old original hardtail, like I said, because I don't think I'll ever be able to afford another gold top in my life, and that's what this came off of. I've held on to this. So, pay my homage to Fender that Gibson that I love so much, because you see the old Flying V and the old Sunburst. So why not? Why not use it? You know what I mean? So I've got a little bit of work to go here. Like I said, I gotta get that finished. And then this will go. Let me see if I just can't show you guys without how we're gonna do this here. How it's gonna look. Okay. Oh, it's catching on the frets. It's catching on the frets. I knew it would. Nice and easy. So, what I'm going to do is... Come on. I know you're catching on the frets. Okay. Alright. So just like that. It's a 25 5-inch scale. And that's where your soap bar is going to go. That's the F-hole on this side I got to finish. But this thing is going to be killer. Yeah. This thing's going to be awesome. So, the cream P90 will go in there. Boop! And then, the back, I gotta get these, once I get everything electronic-wise, these are gonna go on the back. So, picture if you will, that's where your P90 goes. Which I gotta wire everything up. There's the volume, there's your volume. So basically, so what I gotta do here is I have to center these up. So I gotta center these up. And then I gotta drill my holes. And then I gotta take my marker and mark these so I can make it perfectly round. So I gotta round the license plates off. So I gotta drill them to the neck. Didn't do that, but that's gonna be after I get everything wired up. So then, you know, the license plates will be perfectly round. So I put an old Pincy on there, good old PA, and good old Massachusetts on there. So this guitar is going to be absolutely killer. I mean, literally, guys, this thing looks like it's on fire. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know how well you can see that inside. I might do a video going outside, but that curly maple literally looks like it's on fire. Like, this curly maple is absolutely incredible. My poly is a warm gloss poly by Minwax. So yeah, picture if you will, this thing gets level. And then the soap bar goes in here. The back is going to have the license plate, so that way, you know, it hides everything, get it perfectly centered. And then we'll use that 1950... Let me see if I can't mock it up for you guys. So I'll take the original gold top. Take this guy. Yeah, so let me... Okay. So, that original gold top, hardtail, P90. This thing's gonna be pretty killer. So, today's mission is I will finish up I'll probably get this thing wired, get it tested. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see where I'm going to be at. It's just going to take a little bit to get these frets done. Nice and slow to get that teardrop going on the corner of these things. And then nice and smooth. So I know I'm going to get my tuners drilled today. Those are going to be the Parlor 1950 replica. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, hold on a second. Okay. Okay. These guys, the original 1950 Parlors. These are just the replicas of what it would be from 1950. See if I can't hold this thing together. So, picture if you will. There you go. So it's perfect. It's perfect for this build. Perfect. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. I'm going to get more stuff done here. I'm going to get my Led Zeppelin playlist going again. Plus, I need to smoke. Need another drink. And I'll come back with you guys soon. I'll probably come back with you guys when this thing's done, because it's going to take some time with this F-hole. Being very, very careful that I don't screw it up. I'm right in the middle, just trying to get it cut out now. I got every one of my burr holes done. But yeah, either way, I'll come back with you guys, and I'll take a test drive with you guys on this thing, because Outlaw is absolutely awesome and absolutely perfect. This thing sounds exactly like the 1950s. And then this one, I cannot wait for this one. This one's gonna look absolutely killer. P90. Those up to the 1950 tuners. Yeah, this thing's. I'm wanting it to sound, have a woody natured sound, but I'm also looking for it because I'm using the back plate. There's going to be license plates. I'm kind of hoping for that woody mixed with, metal, not like rock, not like that, but like a metal sound. A woody slash metal sound. Because these old 1950s replica, those things, they're very resonant. You can sit there and tap your neck and all sorts of stuff, and they resonate very well. It's almost like having, using a piezo disc. It's almost like using a piezo disc. So those 1950 replica soap bars are awesome. I cannot wait to get this thing going. So there you go in a nutshell. That gorgeous curly maple, just. And this thing's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be quite the rocker, man. But all of you guys just have a good rest of your TGIF. Be safe, enjoy yourselves. Hopefully sometime next week I will have this thing done. So there you go in a nutshell, guys. And once I get this thing done, we'll do sound samples with this. Once I get my new little 3.5, this thing in with the Cyclone now that's on it. This thing's it's gonna be a nice little travel app. So I cannot wait to hear this thing. I cannot wait to hear this guitar, man. It's gonna be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait for this thing. It is awesome. Good old Ford hubcap. It looks like this one was off a service vehicle. I don't think it's not a it's not a Thunderbird or anything like that. I think this is one of these old Ford service vehicles from back in the 60s. It's definitely either 1965 or 72, 75. I'm not quite sure because they didn't change too much back then. But yeah, so here we are in a nutshell. It'll look more like a neck because we got the frets done, but it'll look more like a neck when, I'm going to get my tuners done here a little bit, all that kind of shit. I just want to get back to rocking out and all that kind of stuff and get my playlist going again. But I love you guys. Thank you all so much for love and support, guys. And like I said, also for the Coffee Talk series, I'm trying to get more companies to come on board so I can do at least 2 or 3 a week or every other week, something like that. And I hope to start that very, very soon too. So, but like I said, I just love you guys. Thank you all so much for love and support. I always love coming on here with you guys when I do. So my apologies for not doing it, but I just get too wrapped up in music, and a lot of this stuff that I'm trying to do, sometimes takes 10, 12 hours to do some things. So yeah. But yeah, you guys are absolutely incredible. Just stay safe, guys. Enjoy yourselves. And we will catch you back here on the flip side and the dark side of the moon back here at the shop very soon. And also from the road here next month. Gonna do some fun stuff, guys. So, buckle up. Get ready to have some fun. Just Be safe, guys. I know it's Friday, so enjoy yourselves. And like I said, we'll catch you back here soon, very, very soon. But I love you guys. I hope that stuff helped you with all the stuff we did today, talked about today, and of course the whole Fender debacle. I hope my 2 cents. Well, yeah. But I love you guys. I just can't wait to get this one done and out to you guys, and of course me play this thing, because this thing right here, this guy right here, good old Outlaw. I know I love that warm gloss because it leaves a nice little shine. But Outlaw right here, and this one, I believe are gonna be like my muse, my main axis. I don't know, I like both of them, so. But anyways, I love y'all. We'll be back as soon as possible, guys, and we'll be back here with Gearhead, and we'll get this thing rolling. Be an awesome rocker, guys. I love y'all.